This right here is my case against big fast food. Ah! No, I'm not going to sue them because it takes two to tango. And over the years I've chosen you to dance with fast food. But I read this book, Chew on This. It's all about fast food. I've actually seen two good movies too about fast food. First, not as good of a movie, but it's fun to watch, is Super Size Me. Second, which I found more informational, but Super Size Me still was good. Food Inc. Food Inc. Great movie. If you want to check those out, I'd say check those out. I'd say it's like, just the three best things you can do is watch those two movies and read this book if you want to know more about fast food. I read the whole book. Thought it was good. I thought it was real good. It did seem to, run over some other facts that I've already seen in some other films, but they needed to put it in there anyway. I like, they branch out into a lot of different topics too, like soda and how bad soda is for you and stuff, and how many schools have soda machines, and also the chemicals that we use for the different colors in our foods. And it's just kind of crazy how some of those chemicals can hurt us, but we put those in our foods anyway. It just seems like kind of stupid if, something is like, I want that to be forest green and I don't care if it causes asthma. It's like, would you be alright with lime green and it doesn't cause asthma? No! Make it forest green or your job is gone. And also they talk about a little bit about the slaughterhouses and how awful they are. And like several of these chickens actually have heart attacks just from walking around in these pens, what little walking they do. It's just crazy. It's like, we eat that. That's what we eat. And this is all the big companies too. It's Tyson, it's Purdue, it's all these big companies. Any big chicken company. Big chicken. Big chicken is awful. And also cows, of course. That's not really sanitary with all the feces and stuff that they're walking into. And I think everyone's seen this picture or this video pop up a few times where it just shows this cow with its legs are like broken, and they're like tasering it along, making it walk in its own filth to the slaughterhouse. So it's walking, it was barely getting by, and just to jump into the meat grinder. It's just awful. You just want to throw up in your mouth. It's almost bad enough to make you not want to eat meat ever again. Almost. But it's a real good read. I was going to actually share some passages, some stuff that I thought was interesting. I try to go to more sit-down places if I do go out. The story of Harlan Sanders. Now this, I don't understand why no one's made a effing biopic of Harlan Sanders, because, as you know, I'm Colonel Sanders from KFC. His story is amazing, because he made chicken when he was so old. He had such a great story. My reading voice. The story of Harlan Sanders is perhaps the most remarkable. Sanders left school at the age of 12, worked as a farmhand, a mule tender, a railway fireman, and at various times he worked as a lawyer without having a law degree, and delivered babies without having a medical degree. He sold insurance door to door, sold Michelin tires, and operated a gas station in Corbin, Kentucky. He served home-cooked food at a small dining room table in the back of the gas station. Later opened a popular restaurant and motel, then had to sell them both to pay off debts. At the age of 75, Sanders became a traveling salesman once again, offering restaurant owners the secret recipe for his fried chicken. The first Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant opened in 1952 near Salt Lake City, Utah. Lacking money to promote the restaurant, Sanders dressed up like a Kentucky colonel, wearing a white suit and a black string tie. The outfit gained a lot of attention, and Sanders helped turn KFC into the largest fast food chicken chain. His smiling face and Kentucky colonel outfit now appear on restaurant signs and fried chicken buckets all over the world. But the truth is, Colonel Sanders never served in the military. He just liked to dress up like a colonel. Pictured Colonel Sanders. Awesome story. Make it into a movie. That's what I want to see. The Popeyes near her house has bulletproof glass to protect the workers, and trays of food are passed through the revolving plastic door. How effed up is that? You know you live in the effing ghetto when your Popeyes has bulletproof glass. There's just no joke you can make about that. That's just ghetto. That's ghetto. Due mouth, or yeah, it's where a lot of these people in like the Appalachia and stuff don't have fresh water to get to, or I don't know, not drinkable water. So they like raise their babies on like Mountain Dew and crap. And so they put the Mountain Dew in the bottle and just kind of rest the Mountain Dew in the baby's mouth as the baby, goes to sleep and whatever. And, and this happens. That's Dew mouth. It's just pretty much charred up the baby's teeth. It took me for a second. I was like, oh, good. The baby's going to have a second chance because they're adult teeth that come down later. Because for a second there, I was like horrified. I was thinking, oh my God, what'd they do to this precious baby child? But then I thought, oh, wait. Good. I forgot about the second teeth. I forgot about the adult teeth. God. But it's going to be a shitty life trying to pull those nubs out, right? Right? What happens when those get loose? You have nothing to pull on. Gosh. It's just awful. That's just awful. And, these people are stupid. But also, there should be an option for them to have water instead of just Mountain Dew. That's my position on it. It's a pretty easy position to take, too. I look like an idiot if I took the other position. Mountain Dew for babies. That's what I'm for. That's my position. Someone should run on that. Just Mountain Dew for babies. They ain't paying me. I just like babies and Mountain Dew. Actually, how they kind of invaded these small Eskimo communities and made them drink soda. They were like, drink soda. And then, man, I'm Eskimo, don't make me drink soda. They're like, drink it. It's good for you. The story about the Hannahs who are going along with the ranch without the man of the house as he has died. And it's real interesting, going through some of these people's lives. This one's particularly interesting to me because it's about these people trying to cope with a big loss, but also trying to maintain in an ever-changing community of the meat market, and it's just blown mind. Ranchers and cowboys have always been symbols of the American West. Some historians have praised them as national heroes, the living embodiment of freedom and self-reliance. Others have condemned them for harming the environment and driving Native Americans off the land. There's one fact about ranchers that can't be denied, however. More of them are being driven off the land today than any other time since the Great Depression of the 1930s. Ranchers now face a long list of economic problems. Rising land prices, pressure from real estate developers, competition from overseas producers, health scares about beef. Damn you, Oprah. On top of all that, the growth of the fast food industry has helped transform the way cattle are raised, slaughtered, and processed. Today, McDonald's is America's largest purchaser of beef. In 1968, McDonald's bought fresh ground beef from 175 local companies. A few years later, McDonald's reduced the number of beef suppliers to 5. 175 to 5. It started by frozen ground beef that could be manufactured on a large scale with a uniform taste. As the chain grew, McDonald's wanted its hamburgers to taste exactly the same everywhere. Much like the fry industry, the meatpacking industry has been completely changed to serve the fast food companies. Many ranchers now argue that a few large corporations have gained a stronghold on the market, using unfair tactics to force down the price of cattle. It's really interesting. They also go in, like, Ray Kroc is like really crazy in this book because they talk about how, like, people would try different things at McDonald's or, do something better, and he'd go there and, like, eat the hamburger and, that is the most delicious thing I've ever tasted. But it's wrong! They all need to taste like all the other chains. Every McDonald's needs to be exactly the same. It's just, and same thing with the fries. He messed with the fries until they got all tasting exactly the same, to where it didn't even matter where the fry came from, what supplier they used. They used enough chemicals, enough perfect precision to get it to taste exactly like every other fry. The key to a successful franchise can be described in a single word: sameness. Ray Kroc insisted that everything be the same at every one of the new McDonald's restaurants. The signs had to be the same, the buildings had to be the same, the menus had to be the same, and most importantly, the food had to taste exactly the same. If the fries were lousy at one McDonald's, Kroc worried it would hurt business at every McDonald's. He had little patience for McDonald's restaurant owners who tried to do different things differently. Who would not conform to the rules? Who would not conform to the rules? I said that weird. Like he was yelling at them. This is a quote from Mr. Kroc. We have found out that we cannot trust some people who are non-conformist. The organization cannot trust the individual. The individual must trust the organization. You know, Kroc didn't look for wealthy people to put up the money for new McDonald's restaurants. Nah, let's not go to those people. He tried to find businessmen who would actually run the restaurants as well as own them. People wanted to give up their former lives and devote themselves fully to McDonald's. These new owners had to start with just one restaurant. They would have to follow Kroc's orders, and if they behaved well, they would get a chance to open a second McDonald's. Oh, joy! Most of all, Kroc demanded loyalty. He believed so completely in McDonald's that the company almost seemed to make him a new religion. Anyone who broke the rules was likely to be punished, and any other restaurant chain that tried to steal McDonald's customers was headed for trouble. Kroc had a harsh view of how to compete with fast food rivals. This is a rat eat rat, dog eat dog, he argued. I'll kill him. And I'm going to kill them before they kill me. You're talking about the American way of survival of the fittest. It's like Hitler wasn't even this poetic in his hate. And this is a funny bit. So Ray Kroc did not, come up with McDonald's. These two brothers did, the McDonald's brothers. They came up with a way to simplify their business, just make it really easy for less people to hire. You don't have any plates. It's all paper goods that you're serving off of. You didn't have any people busting the tables. The customer's supposed to do that. You didn't have any car hops. You went through a drive-through. All these little changes that cut out like thousands of little jobs. And so they did this, and Ray Kroc comes on board because they needed someone to go around traveling and selling the franchises, and that was Ray Kroc's big thing. And eventually Ray Kroc bought out the McDonald's brothers from their own company. And he bought them out, and their only thing they wanted, they got paid good, I think $1 million each. It's not crazy good, because we're talking McDonald's, but this is the 70s or 60s, so that was pretty good. But the only thing they wanted was to keep their original restaurant. What happened was, right after the deal went through, Ray Kroc opened up a restaurant against their original restaurant and drove them out of business. What a dick. What a dick. This book talks about the little kind of tricks and stuff that McDonald's started using to lure the kids in, how they are able to brainwash people at a young age and get them to work at McDonald's and get them to actually go to McDonald's all their life. Of course, the Happy Meal is a great one because fudge, I love the toys. They have one. There you go. I mean, this is like the first few toys they ever came up with. You got the Muppet Babies, Kermit and Fozzie. I think they had a Gonzo. I think they had Miss Piggy, and it was genius. Because kids see a toy, they get a toy with a meal. It's great. That's a great bonus to eating. Some kids are even picky eaters when they're younger, and getting to know that they'll get a toy makes it even a sweeter deal. And you could bribe kids into actually eating when they weren't eating, even though they were eating garbage. Also, the playgrounds, the really colorful playgrounds. Before McDonald's, all you really had was parks, and kids knew, your parents you would usually just drive over to a park. It's free, and they get to play in the park and everything. Well, they pass by McDonald's with this really colorful tubing playgrounds, and you go, wow, I really want to play on that. Well, admission's a Happy Meal, and your parents probably going to eat something too because they're waiting to watch you play, and they're not just going to sit there and not do anything with themselves. They're going to eat something. So yeah, it's another trick. And also the birthday parties in the stores. Ray Kroc learned at an early time that actually putting strong memories of birthday parties and having them reserve, the rights for a birthday party meant lifelong customers. And he loved doing this. He loved having the kids reserve, a few booths for a Saturday, and they all come in, and kids always have pleasant thoughts about that McDonald's ever since, and they always go back. It's really interesting, the ingraining that goes on. It's just, I never really thought about it, but it's there. It's all there. It's like, detail in my brain, and I never put it all together. It makes sense, because why would you ever want to go to a shitty restaurant like McDonald's unless it was ingrained in your brain? Oh yeah, it's like an awakening, I tells you. They're talking about different colors they have on their products and stuff, and the chemicals they use to get that, especially with sodas. This is the little bug they chop off the wings of and use for Red 40. It's Red 40, I think it's Red 40. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's Red 40, right? And yeah, it's a bug, and you eat its wings. There you go. It's not so appetizing now, is it? I like this this tidbit, this next little article excerpt that I'm going to read. The U.S. government claims that the color and flavor additives widely used in processed foods are safe. That may not always be the case. Carmine can cause allergic reactions in some people. Tartanazine, a yellow food coloring, can cause hyperactivity, headaches, rashes, and an increased risk of asthma in some children. It has been banned in Norway, Finland, and Austria, but is still used by the food companies in the United States and Great Britain. Tartanazine can be found in British and American sodas, candies, chewing gum, Jell-O, and butterscotch pudding mixes. You gotta have your butterscotch pudding mixes, among other things. A number of scientists now worry that eating so many different chemicals in processed foods may not be good for young children. You think? A study conducted in 2004 at the University of Southampton in England looked at the behavior of 277 children who were 3 to 4 years old. Over a series of weeks, the researchers gave each child either a fruit drink or a drink made with artificial colors and flavors that tasted exactly the same. The kids never knew which drink they were getting. They seemed much more hyperactive when they had the drink full of artificial ingredients than when they had the fruit juice. Each of the widely used chemicals additives may be safe to eat by itself, but the safety of eating a large combination of additives at every meal remains unknown. I don't think it's so safe, there, Dr. Quinn. There's another interesting thing. They were talking about how these fast food companies have gotten into our schools and how dangerous that is. And here's a school calendar. It's Subway, McDonald's, and Pizza Hut Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So that's hilarious. You can see it. In case you forgot about it. What? Alright, here's some stuff about chickens. In 2006, about 9 billion chickens will be raised in the United States, slaughtered, and then eaten. That works out to almost 30 chickens for every man, woman, and child in the country. When chickens arrive at the Pilgrim's Pride slaughterhouse, their cages are rolled onto conveyor belts and tipped over. The birds tumble down a ramp that resembles a playground slide. When they land at the bottom, workers grab their legs and attach them to a moving overhead chain. Sometimes chickens break their legs trying to wriggle free. The chain carries them upside down to a huge tank of water that's charged with electricity. When the birds are dunked in the water, the electricity is supposed to knock them unconscious. Chickens that have been properly shocked don't feel what happens next. But some birds manage to avoid the water by twisting their bodies and flapping their wings, or some out of the water still wide awake. Several years ago, McDonald's admitted that 1 or 2 out of every 100 chickens processed by the company's suppliers aren't knocked out by the stun bath. What happens next is painless for the birds that are unconscious, but cruel to those still awake. The moving chain carries the chickens to a sharp rotating blade that slits their throat. I'm not used to that word, slits. I'm gonna get used to it. Slits. I was gonna say sits or something. That slits their throats. The blade reliably kills almost all the chickens. Every so often, however, the bird still awake moves its head out of the way and dodges the blade. Moments later, that bird can suffer a painful death. The chain dunks the chickens into a tank of boiling water called the scald tank. It helps to remove their feathers. It looks like a witch's brew of bubbling, bloody liquid. No chicken has ever been known to survive the scald tank. The birds that somehow live to this point are boiled to death. The company website features a cartoon of a happy, smiling chicken. You ever wonder if your child's going to grow up to become a serial killer? Does he ever do anything like this? Instead of attaching them to the overhead chain, workers would throw leftover birds against the wall. Some of the chickens that hit the wall were knocked out, but others continued to squawk and flap around. The video shows frustrated workers jumping up and down on the birds or picking them up and throwing them against the wall again. According to the animal rights activist, one worker put 3 live chickens on the floor and jumped on each of them. "I like to hear the popping sound they made," said the worker. The cruelty at the Pilgrim's Pride slaughterhouse was caused by a production line that moved too quickly and by workers who were poorly supervised. I thought this was a funny little excerpt of how the one McDonald's operated outside of a high school. And as soon as 4th period ended, kids would leave campus for their Big Macs, McNuggets, and McFlurries. Sometimes the Buffalo Grove McDonald's sold hamburgers for just $0.25 and cheeseburgers for 35 cents. Kids would buy as many as 5 or 6 burgers at a time. They would rush across the Dundee Road for fast food lunches, often ignoring the traffic light. Students were struck by cars every year. After being hit by a car on Dundee Road, one could ask some friends, as medics loaded him into the ambulance, to bring his burger to the hospital. How fucked up is that? That's pusher tactics. You know, the first one's always free. Get them hooked while they're young. They'll keep on coming back for more. Up the price by little by little. And start using them as batteries for your empire. Sick. I said, goddamn, the pusher man. I like this one. This one makes me happy. Ronald McDonald has undergone a makeover. Instead of being a silly clown who plays only with small children, creepy, Ronald has become a snowboarding, skateboarding hipster who wants to influence preteens. McDonald's hopes he will serve as a global ambassador of fun, fitness, and children's well-being to the max. The actors who visit restaurants dressed as Ronald McDonald have been told to exercise and get into shape, or they'll be fired. McDonald's has not yet offered to pay hip-hop artists millions of dollars to sing about eating fresh fruits and vegetables. A recent marketing campaign for the Big Mac aimed at young teens ignores the whole idea of healthy eating and focuses instead on the subject that really has nothing to do with hamburgers: sex. Ray Kroc, who tried to keep flirting teenagers out of his restaurants, might not have appreciated the sexual overtones of the latest slogans advertising Big Macs. Bite me like it's your first time is one. My buns demand both hands is another. going to go on a little Jamie Oliver rant real fast here. Jamie Oliver's Food Revolution got canceled this year, which I thought was kind of funny. And pretty much he was trying to be like this guy that was trying to upset the ways things have always been, and he went to these schools with a microphone and he's screaming, "We got to put healthy food in the schools," all this kind of all this unneeded tension he was creating, all this drama. And here's a woman named Alice Waters, pictured here, who actually went to a school that wanted her to come, and actually started working, making an organic garden for that school. And actually in that school they had closed down the cafeteria and encouraged kids to eat outside in the playground or go to a fast food restaurant. And now they reopened the cafeteria and actually serve a lot of food that the kids actually learn how to grow. And that is great. That's what Jamie Oliver should have done. He should have found a school that was willing to let him come in and take over and do that from the ground up, and then make other schools and parents jealous that their school wasn't ran like that, and they would have jumped on board. Instead, he went up against schools that were already set in their ways and didn't want any change, and he got surprised about the outcome. The edible schoolyard has proven to be a tremendous success. Other schools throughout the United States have sent teachers to study it and then planted their own gardens. In 2004, the Ches Pansy Foundation agreed to help the Berkeley Unified School District change the food that is served in every one of its schools. Alice is now supervising the creation of new gardens and new kitchens, finding new suppliers of organic food, figuring out how to prepare healthy meals for 9,000 students every day, and privately raising the money to do all of those things. It is a mammoth undertaking. While other famous chefs are opening chain restaurants and putting their names on frozen meals, Alice is trying to protect the environment, support independent farmers, and change the way American children think about their food. Her work demonstrates the importance of learning from the past. Sometimes new ideas aren't really that new. More than a century ago, a California educator argued that every school in the United States should have a garden. These gardens, he said, will teach children that actions have consequences, that private citizens should take care of public property, and labor has dignity, that nature is beautiful. And there you go. There you go. That's how it's going to go out. Good book, though. Definitely an interesting read. I recommend it. I flew through this. This took no time. This took like a week. So, yeah. When you get a good groove of a book, I'd say you could probably get a good groove with this book. Check it out. I'm going to go turn on the air conditioning. Thank you for watching, and fuck you, fast food!